Doing today? Surprise, I'm here. I was able to get some things done, and I'm hoping that my mom doesn't watch this video or we're going to let a surprise out for her. So hopefully we'll be okay. And with that, I will just go ahead and get started right away. So let's see. Go ahead and, yep, we're good. All right. So I am throwing my mom a surprise party. I'm going to tell my dad not to let her watch this video. So we'll see if he can keep up with his portion of the job, which is just to keep her from being too nosy. That's it. That's his job. So, anyways, so the story goes with my mom is that when she was pregnant with me, my mom was sick. She'd get sick all the time, morning sickness, even late into the pregnancy, and she was miserable. But the only thing that tasted good, the only thing that she would eat for the longest time was watermelon. And I was born in the middle of June. So that doesn't help the fact that back then, it wasn't like now where we're importing fruit from a different country because it's warmer down there, and so we can get it earlier. And so he would go and spend time, sometimes a couple hours, driving around the Bay Area trying to find somebody that had a watermelon for sale. And I guess I got the bug because I love watermelon about as much as my mom does. So we have literally sat down, cut one of those nice big watermelons in half, and between us we split it and we ate the whole thing. So when this came out with G45 as the setup, I thought I am going to do this. So I have gone through and I have all of these watermelon things that I found in different places for parties. And then Emma and I and Lily are making some things. So hopefully we'll have a really good birthday, but hopefully she won't find out because this is her 80th. And COVID took a lot of the major time moments away because they had their 50th anniversary and she had her 75th birthday. And all of those things happened right there during COVID. And so we felt like we couldn't really do anything for those things. So I thought, well, 80, that's a good time to have a birthday. So when she told me, I thought that I had one more year. And then she told me in May that she was turning 80 this year, and she never knows how old she is. So I wasn't sure that I believed her until I checked it with Dad. So there we have it. I told a little story to go as to why I have these and why I started them. So this is the Sunshine on My Mind Graphic 45 pack. There are only a couple of the paper packs left. There is some album kits, and there are stickers, and there are rub-ons, and there's tags and frames. So there's lots of things that you can get in this set if you haven't already purchased it. If you have some and you just weren't sure what you wanted to do with it, then I can show you what you can do with it. Out of the pages that you get in the Graphic 45, I'm going to tell you right now that this is an entire set of the pack. So there are 3 sheets per design in the 8x8 size. And so I was able to get it all done with just 2 sheets of each. So you have an entire thing left over like I do. And I made over 25 cards. And we didn't even use these 2. So let's take a peek. I have that 8x8. I have ribbons from our Christmas packs. They are on our $2 sale right now. And that brings me to remember that the $2 sale is coming down as of the end of Sunday evening. So if you like any of these things and you want to give it a shot, I will tell you exactly what I got from the $2 sale stuff. And because I had a lot to make, so I was trying to save money, and I think they turned out beautiful. So this is one of them. These are the tags and frames. I haven't used them in the invitations as of yet, and I probably won't, but I want to show you how these would come in handy in one of these cards. I have the sticker set, and we still have several of these as well. So the rub-ons, the stickers, and the tags and frames. So you've got a lot to work with for toppers and things like that. And then I just grabbed some of our sanding cardstock. They come in a 12 by 12, and I just cut them down into strips. And I realized after doing it with one of the cards that it was going to take me a really long time to sand all of these down. So I didn't end up doing that, but I will tell you that I would encourage you to give it a shot and see if you like it, because it really does give it an extra little bit of zhuzh. Zhuzh? Yeah, zhuzh. Okay, so that is what I have, and this is what I made out of them. So they are sliding cards. They are a gateway card with a sliding tag. And inside, I still have mine as blank because these are going to be invitations, and the paper is going to go here with all the information. And I'm tucking away a couple of extra things on each side inside the cards to just let people know about why we're doing a birthday and different types of information, like where they could stay, or if they can't come, what can you do? So what could you do to let my mom know? Because my parents lived in California for a huge portion of their lives. And so they definitely did not have some of the things, they won't have some of the friends available to them right away. This one is an up and down card, and how you make your tag is going to make a decision on how you put it on your sheet. Because if I did this one sideways, it looks very odd, even if I turn it the other way around. But I've put some in a side line, upside down again. I did some in a side line like this, so that you can go through and pull them like that. And on the back, it's got a nice little piece right here. And so I'm going to put on there some stickers that say you're invited, and then kind of maybe put in some information just on top of the little tag to fill it in and say, hey, by the way, this is my number if you need to get in touch with me, things like that. So, and if you notice, this black cardstock is got a gap right here in the middle, and that's on purpose for the tag to move easily. This is the sideways one. And depending on, I had the ladies that come decide if they felt like this was awkward for them to pull it from the left-hand side or the right-hand side, and they said no, that it worked perfectly and that they didn't even really have to think about that part. So, and then here are my two little, there's my rind and my watermelon up above. Isn't that cute? I love this. Okay. I have some like this as well, upside down again. I intentionally put these cards with a little bit of a turn to them. So if you see, this one's a little bit more snug, but I can show you with this one. So we'll talk about that turn so that you know what you need to do if you like that sideways look. Okay. So this one had a pretty heavy turn. So you can either do it this way, or you can straighten it out a little bit more, or you can go way over to the side. So you've got a lot of room to move that around how you want it to look when you're making it. The tags were all made from my black cardstock. It's the Harmony Hues, and it did really well with it. And then I have my ribbons. I've got sheer ribbons as well that are in the $2 sale. They're this color and pink and white. And so I used those along with just our lower, smaller cost ribbon that's just 25 yards of a set color. And I thought that these turned out really cute that way. So that is what I did. And let's see, I decided that rather than doing just one kind of card, that I would show you how you can implement it with a couple of different companies, because if you don't want to do the Graphic 45, I want to give you some other options. So this morning I sat down and I made up this card from our new Stamperia set of Silent Seas. I think that's what it was called. I think it was Silent Seas. I'll double check here in a minute. Silent Sea, just SEA. And so this is what I did for that one. And I did it on cardstock. This is background paper. This and this is background paper. This is also background paper. And so you can see in this one that I filled it in. Notice there's still a gap there. That gap gives you more, it gives you a little bit of a freer and easier to slide in tag. If you don't, then it can be a little bit more of a struggle. So I tried it both ways. So I'm going to recommend, and I'll re-point out to you guys probably a couple of times, that I have a gap. And I'm going to do one without as much of a gap so that you can see how it can kind of play with it a little bit. So this is not just background papers. This is made with washi tape. This is made with rub-ons. I've got some enamel tags that are blues and whites that are part of our $2 sale. I don't know how many are left in that one. I've got Peter Rabbit ribbon. This one's brown, and we've got also, it comes with brown and like a lime green, so I could totally use that with the watermelon ones as well. And so this is what I did. So let's move right on to how I did it. So first things first. Okay. So I went through and I tried to make sure that I had all my ducks in a row. And obviously I don't. Okay, let's see here. I went through and I wanted to show you guys that these are so versatile depending on what you want to do with them, that you can make them for any kind of a card, really, truly. I don't see it. Sorry, guys. I have... Oh, here it is. Part of the way that I was able to use some of my papers without having to cut into others is that these are truly 3 little squares that were left over from, there was a little strip of each when I went through and cut 4 sections out of each one. And so I was able to make a 5th card by taking the little bits and pieces that were left over and pushing them together onto the card. It was actually really simple and easy. I just taped the back and then laid it onto the card with tape flags, and it looked perfect. And you don't see any gaps. It looks really intentional. And I just wanted to show you that piece just so that you could be aware that it's something that you can do. Okay, so first things first, I'm not going to do a watermelon one. Let's see. Let me think this through here really quick. Oh, that's right. Okay, so the way that you can do this without having to get into the bigger cards stock, you can absolutely get all the pieces that you need out of one of these, but you could also use whatever you have. And so if you've got a nice card, you can take, and this is just a 5 by 7. And I've opened it up and folded it at each half. And you will notice that right here, it's closed all the way. So if you do use a card, you have to do one of two things. You have to give it a little bit more space and move it out some, which will change your dimensions so it will no longer be a 5x7 when you fold it up. Or you can just take a little section off of each one of these, and that's personally what I would do. So I'm going to do that right now. I take 1/8 of an inch more off of one side than the other, just because of how the math works on these. So I'm just going to go a little tiny bit into here. And I haven't used this trimmer before, so it'll be a surprise. I don't trust it that way. Okay, we're going to go from this section. I will have to eyeball my 1/8 of an inch. But that was a lot to have to fight with. So now I've got a little bit of that gap. You can see it. Now I'm going to take a little bit more off of this other side. Not quite 1/4 of an inch, but definitely makes it just a little bit smaller. And as you can tell, it's not major that it's an eyeball. So I've got a nice space there now. So you're going to take your card, you're going to open it up. If you have cards that are flat, which is what these were, if you have cards like this that have that mountain in the back and valley for folding it to a 5x7, but you can also take a folded 5x7 and use your bone knife to smooth that ridge out of the middle and just use these as your gatefold. Or you can buy the gatefolds because we have them in lots of different styles and colors. So that's another thing that you can do. Let's see. So from here, I'm going to give you guys some measurements. And I'm going to tell you right now that these measurements were for a 4x6. So you can see how much bigger this is than this. So this is a 4x6 plan, and this is a little bit larger. So all you're doing in order to make that happen is you're going to run your increments up the difference in size. So if it's a 4x6, then you're going to want to change it with a 5x7 by 1 inch total. So just think about it that way. So in my case, I'm going to go ahead and measure and see how big each side is, because I think that that's probably the easiest way to make it right. So this side is at 2.5. So I think I will make my sheet for this one. That's a 2.25. Let's just take 1/4 off. These are the background pages that we showed you on Wednesday. There's lots that comes with this set, but I said that I would show you guys what I had and see what you guys thought of it. So these are just all the little backgrounds. And I think that this time I'm going to use this one, and you'll see why in just a minute. Or 2 or 5, somewhere along there. Okay, so you have to decide which side you want to cut. And I recommend that you cut the 2 of them from the same section of a cut. So you will put this right next to this on the front, because this made it work really nice when there's that pattern right there that brings it together with the circle. So you don't have to, but that's one of the things that I would recommend. Okay, let's see. I think for this part, we'll do 2.25. And then I know that now the other one needs to be a little bit smaller. So Let me check both of those. 2.5 and 2 3/8. So yeah, 2 1/4 for one and 2 1/8 for the other. So as you can tell, it isn't set in stone that you can't do this in any size that you want. You're just going to measure and cut to the size that you need. Two, and closer to 1/8. And since I know that this is a 5x7, and if I want 1/2 inch off of each side, or if I use it, okay, let me backtrack here for just a second. I like eyeballing things and not just taking it and saying, okay, I'm just going to make it this way, because what happens if it's not really what you wanted? So what I do is I line up my pieces and try to decide how that's going to look. And it looks like I might still have made them a little too big. This one. So I'm going to have to cut that guy down a little bit. So if you see here, I'm putting this one over the top here, and I just have a very small cream portion on each side. So I now know that if I want this size of an edge all the way around, that I can take my scissors, move this down just double so it looks more like about that. Okay, and then you just take a little tiny nip out of it, and then you can cut the rest. If you feel good that you can do things and they'll be straight, I congratulate you, because it never works out when I'm cutting with scissors. So I have just learned that the trimmer is my best friend, and you just find that little strip, and it's way back here, and I can just push it down right against the blade, so I know that that's exactly where I want it to be. You can feel it and see it. So the other one needs to be the same size. Because we know our card doesn't change in sizes. So I just make this quick and simple for myself. And I put it right up, line it up with my paper. And this is where you end up getting some extra little pieces to be able to do that little lineup of the flowers. They're exactly perfect for the 4x6 size when you use this with 8x8 paper. So it really works well. All right, so I know that I still need to make this one a little bit smaller. And so I'm going to take and I'm going to tell myself I want it right halfway. Yeah, let's see if I can quit shaking here. Wouldn't you know it? Just the time that I feel ornery. I think my body just says, yeah, I'm ornery today. Okay. So we'll take this one. And I will give you the dimensions again at the very end. So then that way you have all the measurements to make the 4x6. I just wanted to show you that you can do it with a different size card and that it works quite nicely. So I've got this one and this one, and just by taking about 1/8 of an inch off of that one that was a little too big, it's going to be perfect. Oh, our lights just went out. I always want to like wave my hand up there, Bryce, when it goes out and I'm here by myself and I'm videoing. But it never seems to recognize me.
No, you're too far in the corner.
Yep. All right, so now I'm putting on the double-sided sticky tape. And I encourage you not to put it all the way to the end because it can accidentally come over just a tad when you're trying to tear it. So just make sure that when you're tearing it up a little bit closer so that if you see here, it's got a little tiny bit of a lip right there. And on this one, I just used what I'd torn off from this one and put that on. So it's got little gaps. I'm telling you because from experience, it isn't easy to get the tape off. And if it's sticking out, it's going to get sticky. So in fact, I have a spot on the card that I made that I'm going to have to use a little bit of embossing powder pillows just to get the chalkiness there so it's not sticky. All right, I'm taking my tape flags. Right there. Okay. Just going to give it a little tiny line up all the way through. Just like that. Pull my little flags. And I will tell you that there are spaces in mine that some of the pieces didn't match quite as well. Maybe they were a little bit too small. You won't notice it with the tag there. I'm just going to let you know that you don't have to go, oh no, it's sitting on this line a little bit too low, because if you cut it a little narrow, it's going to sit low right through here. You'll want it towards your edge. So if you have that you make the mistake, just make sure that you move that. If it is shy, give your space up here away instead of back on the back side, because you'll notice it around the corners with your tags in place, but not so much when they're just, when the tag covers half of it, because it does. It's about half, I would say. Okay, so here's your gatefold. Not real fancy, right? It's looking like a gatefold. That's kind of pretty. I absolutely think that it's beautiful pictures, but I want to give it something more. So I was thinking about taking something from Debbie and using it, and I may still decide to do that because I don't have the full piece here. Yep, I'm going to do it. Debbie has this beautiful piece of rice paper that she has put embossing wow and glitter on. Isn't it pretty? And so I am going to cut this out, and it is going to go in the center of my card.
Okay.
So it kind of is nice when you can grab things that you already have pre-done. In fact, I thought about this not on my way here, but I thought about the fact that I knew that it was here, and I went, I'm going to muddle and think about that a little bit. Still has a little tiny bit of the edge that was a little crooked, it looks like. So we'll cut that off. And up until this moment, I wasn't positive if I was going to steal it or not, but I'm stealing it. And there's where the other part of the crooked comes out. Right there. Okay. So let's see if it has done, and it will fit in here. Yes, siree, that'll be beautiful right there. And like I said, you can always go through and add in sections here as well. Don't be afraid to use all your spaces because this is going to be opened up a lot of the time. So why not give it that little bit extra? And it doesn't take that much of your paper. It really doesn't. 2.5 inches at most. Well, that was unwise on my part. I didn't leave my tape flag. Here, we'll put it back. I like to do a top and the bottom. If anybody's new that's joining us, hello and welcome. The tape flags are just, I put one kind of a little bit open up here and a little bit open up here so that I can place it and say, yes, that looks straight, or no, I need to fix it just a little bit better. In this case, I think it will do the job. And so now I can just pull out the tape flags. And now I've got a beautiful C piece. And the reason why I decided to use this is because, as we pointed out, Stamperia over the last few weeks has been really, they have some beautiful rice papers. So you might as well use what you have. Okay, so let's see. I have my rub-ons. And I have my washi tape. All right, from here, there are a couple of things that we can do. And I want to show you the kind of options you have. First one is going to be a puncher like this that's going to cut your tag. Debbie was a lifesaver. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't been able to find any tags anywhere. This is what I was looking for. We don't have any in stock anymore, but it did perfect, exactly what I was looking for. You can also buy tags and not have to worry about making them. They come in these smaller sizes as well as in multiple sizes, in pinks and blacks and reds, and I have a blue one in here somewhere. Maybe I put the blue one back, which is possible, because I was just digging around downstairs to go, what can I put with this? Well, let's see. So I had a whole little extra section of things. So, okay. I think I am just going to go with the one that I have used out of my paper cardstock, my craft paper. The other way that you can go instead of a punch is either pre-purchased tags like I just showed you. Those were with glitter, but Paper Accents does a lot of different shapes of the tags. We've got a few other places as well that have tags. So if you decide, oh, I want to do something that looks like, and you have an idea, look around and see, because I know that, for example, both our Wild Blossoms and our Garden Treasures have tags that would be perfect for using with these. Or we've got the die set from Heartfelt Creations and the ticket and tag, so you can use it with a lot of different shapes. And you can even see that you can make a different color here. and move right through. In fact, it even has the little circles in there so that you can put it around your little tag hole to give it a little bit of extra strength. My tags that I did for the watermelon, I did go through and take the extra time to put in an eyelet. I put a brad, another thing in our $2 sale section right now. I put in some of these enamel red brads. It's part of the Christmas pack, but they work perfect for this color. And I put it through the hole. I made the eyelet comes with it, with the punch. It just puts that hole right in there. And then you have to buy eyelet pieces, and they fit perfect at a 3/16 of a hole. And I just went through and I put them in and I pounded them and with a setter, and I made them that way. You can also purchase eyelets that are different sizes. They can look different. We have some of your golds. I don't know if we have any silvers right now, but personally, if you're not going to be using these a ton, I think that it doesn't need the eyelet piece. It does take a little bit more time, and it also takes your finger strength. So you don't have to, but I wanted to show you what I did. So these little reinforcements may actually help a lot if you were to use something like this. You can see on mine how I didn't use the eyelets on the craft paper. And I think it's going to hold up just fine. So let's take a peek. I've got this piece, and I have the washi tapes. Got some pretty shells, some crabs. Kind of like this one. I left this on because you're not going to actually see it when you pull away the paper. It's pretty amazing. So I'm going to take it and I'm just going to put it, maybe I want to run it along here. I know that I want to use this. I'm not sure if this is the right place. But these washi pieces on the other example, I literally tore them out, not cut. I tore them. So that gives them a little bit of a tear look. But it also, I think it works really well. So I really like this little bottle here. So I'm going to take this out. So now I'm just planning my tag as we're talking because, yeah, I didn't have a true plan. Like I said, I was kind of winging it for this one. Okay, and I think that I'm going to need a nice background piece for the front, for the tag. So let's move right along into that. This, boop, boop, boop. Sorry guys, switched thought process with you. My tags that I have with the punch are only a 2.5 wide that you can do. So I'm sticking with that, even though this is a little bit of a bigger card. But you can make them as long as you want to. So for this one, I kind of want to stick within, yeah, by the time all is said and done, we're at like about 6.5 with this 5x7, which is kind of interesting. But I think it would look good. And this is how I'm kind of making my decision. I think it would look good if I tilt it and maybe stop between here and the bottom. So that would give me a tag that's this long. I think I want to go a little bit less. So we'll go 4.5. So it's 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches because that's my punch size. If you have a tag maker like a die, then that makes it even better and you don't have to worry about it. But this gives you the idea of what you need to do when you need it. So let's do it. Let me see first how long. Oh yeah, I've got plenty of room. I've got a little over 5 inches here. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this to 2.5. Except for I'm not used to this cutter. Okay, here we go. So here's 2.5. And then we decided 4.5. I'm going maybe like 4 5/8 because this cuts off the top and it takes a little bit even off the very top. So I want to give myself just 1/8 of an inch to make that. And looky there, I didn't cut it. At least I didn't cut it the 2.5 that they have. So let's try that again. 2.5. And I'm going to just redouble check before I start putting things on. I'll make my hole. Voila, a tag. I really like this, which makes it really sad because we don't have any more. So maybe we can find some. Okay, so so here's my tag size. And I think that that's a good size for this. If I want to make this sideways, which I can't because right now I've got jellyfish. So it's going to have to be an up and down tag, but I think I want it to have a pretty dramatic turn right here. And that's where this next part comes in. So you need, with this, 2.5 by 2, and you'll need 2 of those. So 2.5. It's long, so maybe more. Maybe 2.5 by 2.5 won't be too bad for this one. It will make sense here in just a moment or two when you see the trick that we use. Okay. And in fact, this leftover piece might be just about perfect. So when you're making one of these slides, you need 2 for the slide, you need 1 for the back, and then you need 1 for the tag. If you want, you can add in 2 more pieces. Maybe if your paper is a little bit thinner, you could add in 2 more squares. Just make sure that these 2 squares, this will be a little bit smaller than the other one. And see how that works? It's just a little bit smaller. As long as it's shorter and it's not coming up above my corners, this is a perfect back size. So it was totally by accident that that worked out. Okay, so there's that. And then this piece. So you can also get a plain piece. Had an example. Here's your slide. It will make more sense here in a minute. Here's your slide. You attach it to a back. This back doesn't look so great. It's kind of I tried a few different things on it, but it does give it a lot of structural integrity. And so you can just turn around and put a secondary piece for the back and then put this one in the front. And that's what I did with the watermelon ones. So for this one, I'm not going to put an extra back in. I've got a nice thicker piece right here. And I think that they'll do well. Since these are 2.5 by 2.5, I'm just going to fold them right in half. You can use a bone folder, put it through the thing, put it through your box. Oh dear, what is that called, Bryce? The you're going through and you're making a box and you want to put it through with a little knife. There's a thing that it's called, and I'm just not coming up with it. That's horrible. Yes, it has a lovely little knife that comes with it. It's not sharp. It's just got the bone knife where you can make it really nice and slick. And I will tell you that you really don't need to put it through one of those box maker indent making valleys and mountain boards. That's as close as I'm going to get today, because they're not going to see these. Wherever they're at, they're inside. So I've taken two. I'm going to put them in half. And this is part of the reason why I liked a back. If for some reason it goes awry, I can always cut it and turn around and put another piece over the top. Another piece over the top of the back, I should say, and make it a little bit bigger if I want. So I glued mine. I didn't think that it would do as well with regular. So my suggestion would be liquid glue, tacky glue. The Cosmic Shimmer glue will work well with this as well. It just happened to be what was in my little container.
Red liner tape?
Red liner tape would help it stay for longer. It would give it some strength. Right here, I'm putting it sideways. This is how you get your tilt. So don't worry about the fact that it's sticking over and looking kind of odd right now, because all you're going to do is snip off those sides. And I tried to make them as close as I can together. Trim off your edge, just follow the line of your piece. And then I just put something heavy on top of it and let it sit there for a little bit, and I work on the tag top. So then that way it's dried and has its good, it's all good to go for a little bit later. Okay, so for this piece on my tag, I have, I've got some seashore and some maps left over from my other card. And I also have all of these really pretty pieces in here to use as well. So you have to think about, with this washi tape, how do you want it to look? Do you want it to have a specific type of a feel or look? Based on that, you can maybe decide that this background might do the trick on your tag. And that's totally up to you. I think it's going to be a little busy with the fact that I want to put this border on. So I am going to go with the thinner piece that I have fairly neutral colors in. Okay, so I'm just eyeballing it. I'm taking it little clip there. And now I know that I want it to go up. Probably going to want it to go about I put it up here at the very top and I give it the same kind of a extra space, I'm going to take it and go right along in here. So now I've marked where I want my measurements to be. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope it does. If you have a question, you can always send a question to the customer service at Simply Special Crafts, and we can always help answer maybe some of the questions that you might have. So, first part. Okay, there's my little piece. I know that you guys can't see it, but you can physically, when you have this pushed all the way down at the bottom, you can just kind of rub your paper through until you can feel it kind of collapse a little bit right in here. And that's where your cut is. So looks like that didn't cut quite straight. Probably wasn't pushing the side in as well as I should have. Okay, and if you look, you've got the C kind of on the side, but I don't think that it will look odd being upright because you're going to be putting some stuff on here. So I think that it should be good, but that didn't click for me until I put it onto the paper. You could just decide that you like the map on the other side too, but I felt like that was a little busy for me. How are we on time?
You're at 51 minutes.
Okay. Okay, gonna do the same thing. Make my tape flag. Give it a little space. I always forget how thirsty I get when I do this. Okay, let's see. So you saw me tear out my bottle. And I think that the shells will actually go quite nicely. Maybe I want it inside. I'm going to go with this for right now. So I've torn this off of my sticker space. Excuse me. And it just, look at that. I don't have to cut it out. I don't have to worry about it. It just beautifully comes together. The only places that I found that I wanted to trim out was anything on the side. You can actually run your fingernail against it and it will tear right off. Use a little X-Acto knife, it will come right off. My tummy is talking. It needs food. Okay. Okay. I'm going to come in and see if I've got a couple of little things that would be fun to add to the base section. There's a net. Let's see what this does. Okay. This takes very little cutting out and necessity. You can see all the white around it. Made it quick and easy. Excuse me. I think what I want to do is just put in, yeah, I think I want to tear Okay, I can see right here that I'm going to go over a little bit if I use the whole piece. I don't know if I will or not, but no, I want the other piece, I think. Let's see. I might like this better. Oh yeah, there we go. The washi is so light that you don't lose the picture. Look at that. I'm still going to have to cut this little section off the bottom. I don't think I want to take the net part away of it. I just want to take the white part out. Now it's got a little net down there at the bottom.
The washi tape's like almost a translucent sticker.
Yeah, yeah. And so I wasn't sure exactly what it was going to look like, and I wasn't sure how well it was going to stick. So that was part of the reason why I wanted to play with it a little bit. Okay, so here's my tag. And let's see, what do we want to say? Because let me tell you, there's a lot of sayings through here. Let's see. Let the sea get you free. Let your spirit fly. Drift into peace.
Nice.
That one's nice. Okay, this is my Revon. And I told you guys that I would test the theory and see how well, because sometimes Revons work good for me. And I have had a few that I just was totally flustered by the time that I got it to work. And so Mary had given me some information that I hadn't heard before, and it was to run it through a die cutting machine. And I said, do you want to come and talk about it on the video? And she said no. I did that for several years. So anyways, I am going to go ahead and show you what it does. This one actually comes off fairly nicely. The Graphic 45, I wasn't quite as sure about. I tested it with the little stick, and then I took my boning knife to it, and it seemed to work well and would come off, but I was amazed at how simple and easy this was. So I'm going to get the die cutting machine really quick. As my tummy talks all the way around. So I told Mary on Wednesday that I wanted to do it while she was there so that she could show me what I might be doing wrong if I hit something wrong. There was paper on the floor. Perfect. It can be my shim. We did find that when we ran the metal piece through it, the tin in our die cutting machine, that extra shim, it left some imprint in it. It pushed it a little bit too snugly. So the thought process is we take and use a piece of paper. Where did it go? It's stuck in the bag. Okay. I just want it to sit right like that. I think when I'm done, yeah, I think that would be neat. Maybe it's going up and down. Yeah, right like that. Okay. Okay, if you can see it on here, you can still see the nice shiny stuff because it's still sitting up there. So I put it to where the shell is just kind of sitting against the bottle. Like that. No popsicle stick, nothing needed, just your die cutting machine. And I said, do you use the embossing rubber mats with it? And she said, no, just use what you got. And look at that. It just really pops right off. I see a couple of places that maybe, yeah, if you see right there, there's just a little tiny bit that got left behind. Mary had said put it forward and then back again, and I forgot about that part of it, but it still did a really beautiful job. So when we tilt it, it's going to give it a totally different little look. So that will be fun. We need to, this one, I made a second little tiny tag on it. In this case, I don't think that that's necessary with everything that's already here. So I just added the secondary piece. This secondary piece is just a little bit of, it's very small, and I just ran it through the tag piece on each side, top and bottom, and that's how I ended up with the little tag. But let's see here. We've got this color, and I had, because I know Bryce is holding on to everything over there. I had a little Peter Rabbit one in here, but maybe I'll just go with the white sheer polka dot because it's here. And this is one of the Christmas ribbons. Yeah, it's like a light blue, really light blue. And then, let's see. Okay, I am giving it 6 inches about. More like about 7, I think. You can always cut it shorter, but you will have wasted it if you didn't get it long enough. And what would happen if we just took a little tiny bit of this? What do you think?
I like contrast. So.
Okay. I'm not going to put as much of that in as I do the other two, just to kind of give it just a little tiny bit of color. All right, so this is a trick that I found out about these tags. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to set it aside for a minute. You're going to fold your two pieces up, then fold them small enough, or I roll them so that it fits right through the hole. And then you won't have to worry about that eyelet either if you can roll your lace. Keep in mind that excuse me, that will be important for you to remember, just because if you have thicker ribbon, you you might not be able to get it through the hole as well. One piece of the ribbon was a lot shorter than the other in the dark blue, so I need to pull that up a little bit. Okay, so you have your folded half that I poked through the little eyelet hole. And then I'm just going to turn right around and set them down inside that little hole. Then again, roll your ribbon. It does really help. Okay, so I'm sliding it through that hole that I had in the front, and now I'm just pulling it. I kind of like the roughness that happened with that crepe ribbon. It kind of feathered it. Can you see that? I don't know if you can or not, but it's feathered the crepe just a little bit, ever so slightly, and it just kind of enriches it, I think. And I found that if I pull on both sides, that tightens up that piece that's holding the ribbon down here, because you want it to be nice and snug. You don't want it disappearing somewhere, falling off. Okay. Here. And here. Then I'm going to take my little polka dot ribbon . Probably should have remembered not to tighten it quite yet, but I didn't. Okay, there we go. You're going to roll your little ribbon through that hole, because if you don't, and it's the hole that's here, that's in the front, that this ribbon came through. So let me show you again. This is the ribbon that came through that little loop that I put in there. I want that loop to stay thin enough or open enough to be able to slide this in, because if we can slide it all the way across, this would be the time for like a crochet needle. If you can slide it all the way through and across, it ties better into a bow. Oh, I forgot that you have them over there. Wonderful. Well, that's even better. Maybe just a retrieval system.
I would put your hook through the loop
Mm-hmm.
and pull it through.
Yep. I was there. But I'm glad that you came up with the same idea that I was heading for, because then that tells me I'm doing the right thing. Here you go. Thank you very much. Okay. So Now you can pull the rest of your ribbon snugly like that. And then you're literally just going to tie it like you would a bow. And that's why you need that little bit of extra, is for that bow. You can also, if you do not want to have to worry about sliding it through things, just keep in mind you've got your best glue ever. And you can always use that to give a little tiny sticky spot onto your ribbon, and then you can paste that or glue it straight on to that hole, and it will just sit right there looking so nice and pretty. But I wanted to give it the tie. I just kind of thought that kind of finished it off, the little bow. Okay, so here we go. I think that if I were to do this again, I'd probably give it a little bit more length. I just wasn't sure what it was going to look like with this particular piece. So I think I like the ribbon going through. Having that little bit of glitter, see that glitter that's in there? It's going to go and complement this really well when you open it too. So you've got all that pretty glitter in there. Okay. So from here, you're going to come back to your little piece that has 2.5 by 2.5 that we've glued 2 slides together, half and half together. I moved it off to the side, cut a corner here and cut a corner here off so that it doesn't show on the back. And now I'm going to put it on this side. The fireworks have started.
You sure you want it on that side?
No, I don't. Thank you. Oh my, that would have been horrible. Thank you for noticing. I think my brain was somewhere else just for a moment. Okay.
A few wipes there if you want to. Pull that glue off.
You know, honestly, I don't think that it will affect it. I think it will make it actually give it a little bit of decoupage to keep it on top. Go figure. Okay, let's try that again. Put it back under something heavy. And now let's look at these 2 sides. Don't want that. What do I want? I'm undecided.
Stripe on the back. That would be kind of cool.
It would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Because it goes up and down. I was contemplating that. I like this one too. But I think you're right. I was a little nervous about it because it just was afraid it might be too busy, but I don't think so. And this gives you a really good indication as to where it would fit nicely on there too. So I think that's even going to make my life easier. And now we have to look for the next spot. Should put it. Okay, and I want to make them the same size as the little jellyfish. I never throw anything away until I'm done.
Are you ever done?
I have a little section of just the leftovers from each kind of a set that I have, and I just put them in these little bags, and then I think, one of these days, I'm going to make something with these extra pieces. But sometimes they come in handy as your scraps. So making like the tag pieces, for example, those would be a great way to use up some of your scraps.
Sure.
And I'm going to tell you right now that I don't have time to show you a secondary one because this does take a good amount of time to make. But I am going to give you some ideas for how you can use this for basically any type of card. So I've got watermelons that have a whole bunch of embellishment pieces on them, the stickers and everything, and they look nice and full and really pretty. No problems there. But I
think the graphic 45 Halloween set would be really fun with this.
That would be fun. Yeah.
You could put a little witch on the card with a broom and slide back and forth.
That's a good idea. Yeah, so I have found that you can do this with just about anything. So you can pull this out of your hat at any point in time. And as you do it, after you've done it a couple of times, you get a pretty good feel. I could have gone faster if I just stuck with my original measurements and had just done that. I could whip them out really quickly. But I wanted to show you that you can make them all different sizes too, and how you go about in doing that without having to know the measurements exactly. So who wants to stay in the section where I'm not very good about staying within the measurements? I mean, I do. I follow the rule of thumb on what it should look like. But in general, I'm not fastidious in my measuring. There, that's probably the word I'm looking for. Okay. Let's take another look at this border. I really wanted to use this border if you couldn't tell. I'm just making it the size of the backing. I'm not doing anything extra, putting on another piece of paper. As you saw with these, I did put a little paper on the back of the tag, but this is going to look quite nicely and blend in with what we've already got going on. And I think that it would be fun to leave like a little note on the back. Wouldn't that be fun? I don't think that this one liked me keeping it away from its friends there to begin with. Okay, there we go. So since this is an up and down, we'll go this way with it. And I think on the inside, okay, we have this side that says drift into peace, and this side that, and then these rub-ons that say let the sea set you free.
That's nice too.
And I think I'm gonna do something that seems a little crazy, but I think that it will work. So I'm ripping off the little shells on some of these washi sheet pages. If I can find the rest of them. It's the border piece. I kind of have stuff sitting everywhere, don't I? I'm looking like Debbie right about now. Let's see. They shouldn't have gone far. Rub-ons, and let me remind you that the rub-ons, there's at least 2 or 3 different kinds of rub-ons on there. There's my rabbit one, Peter Rabbit Brown. I don't know where I said it. That doesn't surprise me though. Okay, well, I moved the tags. I can't stay here very long looking for it. Oh, here we go. You would be bored. Okay, so I've got that shell, and there's a couple of really cool crabs on the borders. So I'm gonna take them. I want you to see on this piece, it's got a little bit of the border from the other piece on it. I'm taking that off because I don't want that to be shown, and I'm going to be tearing these off of the little strips. So I want to make sure that it's going to go on easily when I do. Okay, so there's those, and then rub-ons. I like this little blue shell, and I like the little seaweed. So I'm going to tear those. And like I said, I haven't been cutting them. I think that they actually will work better if you tear them. I think they blend a little bit better. When you just cut it in the line, you can see that line, whereas it melts in when you have the tear. Okay, so here's a little blue guy. And the little seahorse. I think there was some seaweed. Yeah, we'll do those. Okay, let's put these on and see what we make. Well, one of the neighbors is having fun. Okay, so here's my little jellyfish. That's them right side up. I'm going to take and put in my seaweed in a corner. I think based on what I'm seeing, I think I might have to take a little bit of the extra white off because the bottom is a little bit lighter than the white creamish color. So. Well, I've come to the conclusion that you should have your washi tape started for you before you get on camera. Okay, let's see if I can get this to do what it needs to do. It really was not difficult earlier. There it is. It just happens to need a little bit of nudging, I noticed, because I thought that it wasn't going to release earlier too. And this is what I love about this washi tape. I'm putting it on the other side, and the reason is because the tail is normally on a seahorse. They hold on to something while they bob in the water. So look at that. It just melds right in. See? If you don't like a little bit of the washi tape showing through, if you really give it a good rub, it tends to disappear a little bit, or you can tear it a little bit more, and it will work for you. Okay, here's one of my shells. And it seems to really stick. Sometimes washi tape, I don't know. Sometimes I find that washi tape can be difficult to stay stuck down. Part of what's nice about me being able to lift it up. But at the same time, I don't want to I don't want it to pop up later. And this doesn't seem to do that because I've messed with it several times now with the other tags that I did, and they came off they did not come off at all. They didn't roll. I would say that if you do find that you don't have Stamperia's washi tape, because I don't know what other kinds of washi tape you might have, but I think I would put a clear coat over the top of them, just because of the fact that sometimes they tend to not stay in place. You know, my tweezers would probably help with this process. There we go. And then our little crab and our little starfish, and then we'll be done. Oh, come on now. Do what you're supposed to do for me. There. We'll just ignore that starfish. He was being stubborn. So how are the kitties doing, Bryce?
They seem to be adapting and now almost ruling the house.
Ruling the house. Well, that's a cat for you.
Yes. Yes, they are. They've learned how to open their bedroom door so they sneak out in the middle of the night and play. We hear a thumpity thump 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 down the hallway. So, and every now and then they make too much noise and Teddy barks at him and tells him, "Be quiet, he's sleeping."
That's funny. Emma was making little crowns out of those Chanel pipe cleaners.
Yep.
We were working on a project, and so she went and she made little tiny crowns for the baby cats.
Oh.
Yes, and she thought that it was a great idea to have them keep them on and wear them, to the point where she went and asked if she could use my camera, and I said yes. And so she went over and she totally had a blast trying to dress them up. And I said, I don't think cats really like that. But she wasn't too worried about it.
These two cats are kind of getting, one of them's getting darker to be more like the other, so it's making it harder for us to say who's who.
Oh.
So it won't be long that there'll be different colors coming in their future, so we can say
that was this one or this was that one.
Yep.
Okay. I have no idea how this is going to work on this embossing. So just a heads up, this may not go the way that I hope. Do you have a possibility of a boning knife that direction? I had one in my... It's a file. Oh, I found it. I found it, Bryce.
They're all out of the box.
Thank you. If I had thought this through a little bit better, I would have done this while the jellyfish were still out of the card. I love how this gives it a soft look. The translucent piece of this makes it beautiful. Mary's sitting there going, I told you, put it in the die cutter. I bet you that's what she's saying.
I bet so.
Right about now. So learn from my not thinking it through all the way and put it in your die cutter before you decide to put it on your card. Because you saw how easy and simple that was. And it's always fun to, test something new.
Yes, live on camera.
Live on camera. Well, not really live. We could just totally delete this part, but I know we won't, so.
Yeah, no.
That is way too much work for Bryce to have to do. I really want those words to stick. I'm going to say I was a little bit too adventurous to do a rub-on on glitter. But you never know what you might come up with. No way.
She wins.
Whoa, that is beautiful. I've never seen that ever work before. Rub-ons are already hard enough for me to put on paper, so these are done beautifully. And then here we have all of our pieces. So here's the inside, here's the outside of the card, and here's the inside of the card. And so now I'm going to take my tag. It's been dry enough. So you're going to just take and open up one side, because the sliding mechanisms that we put in there sideways are what makes this work. So I put mine in by taking one of the edges and just kind of tilting it on its side. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I've taken this edge and I've just put it right on here because I know that I'm going to need that. Just make sure that you keep it up. You can see in here where the paper stops and starts. If you have a piece that's higher up like this, you're going to want to keep an eye on it while you're putting it on. And that's just because it can catch on that corridor and you don't want to cause, on that little rail, you don't want to cause it to tear the corners. Ha-ha! Look at that, guys. So this is our Drift Into Peace from Silent Seas. I think that I gave it too much push and pull, so I'm going to put it right back down again. That's what's amazing about these. They really do fit well and work well together. And if something doesn't work out quite right, the thickness of the paper allows you to use it a little bit more aggressively, and it does just fine. The other night, one of the ladies was saying, I can't get it back in there. And it does take a little bit of practice, but you're not going to damage anything when you're doing it because the tag has already been made very sturdy. So this is what we have. I would personally be coming in, but I know that we are out of time. I would personally be coming in with some Nuvo drops. These are the aroma blueberry ones. And then we have the crystal ones as well downstairs in various different colors. So this is how I would finish that off, is with either some of these or those little embellishments for those bubbles that I showed you earlier. They are a lot of fun to do as well. So we have all of these different ways and different sizes even that you can use. I mean, this is a much different size, but it easily gets transferable so long as you stick with the idea of the gate card size and that you give yourself a little bit of a gap in between. And I just want to throw out some ideas to you. And I might put it online as a picture. We'll have to wait and see. But I figured, Christmas in July, it's that time of year. And so I thought maybe I would have a little bit of fun with one of these. And I wanted to be able to show you that, number one, the adorable scoreable is going to give you that nice thick piece of making a gateway card. So you can use your beautiful background piece right over into here to make your gateway card out of. Make your mountains and folds and put it in. Then you can use whatever extra you have over here, because you saw that I said that I used about an 8.5 by 11 page of paper to make it from scratch to finish. So you would do the same with these. So you can make it a little bit smaller and you probably would have a little bit left, but you can totally make those. You can make the inside little slides with some of this as well, and it will give it some sturdiness. Excuse me. And then you can decorate that up with your smaller piece here as your tag. You don't even have to worry about cutting out a tag. It's right there for you. You can even make them fancier by putting them onto your tag, make your slide, and then cut around it. So even if you wanted to go this big, you could. If you glue down the back side to it, cut it out, glue the tag itself, this shape, this front square, because it's bigger. I'm not saying it quite right. The big top cover on your tag. That's it. So you can just put that right behind there and then cut this out so that it will fit and sit, and then glue that to your little slide piece that's here. So there's lots of different ways that you can do it. You can put little tags on the inside doors. You can leave the little saying on the outside. So these can be used with just about anything that you can think of. It's not going to just be limited to using with G45 because they have all the really cool stuff. Nope, everything that we have is cool stuff, and you want to use it all. And I want to encourage you that everywhere that I was putting things, all that I could think about is I have all of these little Birdie and 49 and Market little tiny flowers, and I'm going to have a blast putting them on like I did my watermelons, and that it will just finish off the look. So just think about the different ways that you can create things and use them, because I guarantee you have some of them around the house and you weren't necessarily thinking about that when you start, but there towards the end you may go, I think it needs a little bit more. So here's the little bit more. And I think that would turn out just beautiful as soon as I pop those flowers on and give it just what it needs. So with that, I want to remind you that the $2 sale, where I got some of these lovely things from, like our little enamel pieces, the red and white, it's more of a creamy color of brads that I have. They come in different sizes. Oop, right behind the name. They come in all different sizes. I think the biggest one is about that big. There are tons of other brads that are in there too. So if you want to grab it to use with your fairy bouquet, that I know that we have brads that will work with those that are all glittered and everything else. If you want to grab a fairy bouquet sticker and pad from Graphic 45, it would be a great way to go. But I would encourage you to try it with all different kinds of things and not just limit yourself by saying, oh, this was done by Graphic 45, so therefore we're going to just stick to Graphic 45. And I know that I get into that mindset. And so I wanted to kind of push my boundaries a little bit and see where I could go with my rub-on new process and my washi tape process. There's lots of different things that I put in here that I wouldn't normally think to do, but I promised that I would show you guys how to use them. So I had to work at it a little bit. So thank you so much. And we will see you again on What's New Wednesday next week. Oh, and I want to let you know that the summer porch items from 49 and Market are on a really great sale right now. And keep in mind that we do take the sales away every once in a while. And so we had some that we took off, and we're going to be having the 49 and Market for a while. The $2 sale is coming off, but we've got another surprise in the next couple of weeks for you. So thank you very much. Give us a thumbs up. I always forget to say that. And let me know what you liked the most out of any of the different things that you saw, because man, they're so much fun. I love them. Okay, thanks. Have a great night. Bye.